Hey, hey, happy Wednesday, deities. Hope everyone has been having a great week so far. I know we've been having a great week because every day this week we've been talking about some really, really cool SMITE 2 announcements. We had Conquest, Aspects, items on Monday, Aladdin yesterday, which is a huge reveal. Today, we've got Rowe joining us because we're going to be talking about Agni and Hua Mulan. How are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough act to follow. I think we had buffering and then Aspects and then Aladdin.
Yeah.
And now I got to come in after that. That's tough, but I'll try my best.
You got it. You got it. What's going on, Killgoon?
No, not too much. Yeah, it's been exciting watching everybody play on PTS and seeing them interact with stuff and find new break cases for us to fix, which is why we do PTS. So, yeah, it's been a fun week so far. I'm looking forward to the rest of the week and really looking forward to Joust. I think that people are going to be stoked to see it. So
going to be super stoked. Well, Alex, I know you have just a couple notes on some bug fixes in SMITE 2 Live that you wanted to bring up before we go into our God reveals.
Yeah, just a very minor one, unless it's been affecting you, in which case it's a major one. If you were playing on Epic Game Store and you were unable to purchase a Founders Edition or a Founders Edition upgrade because you already had an access key, that should be fixed now. So if you want to buy a Founders Edition, you should be able to do that if you're on Epic now. So check it out. Let us know if you're still having issues with that. We think we got that addressed. And then I'll also mention we're streaming somewhere different today, too.
Yeah, we should be live on YouTube for the people who have been wanting to watch on YouTube. I know we've gotten a lot of feedback about people who prefer watching live streams on YouTube, get Titan Talk on there. So we should be live on YouTube now, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Good
and
stuff.
Last thing before we dive into game, because I know everybody wants to see it, but this is your first time on Titan Talk. Yeah. Obviously, SMITE 1 people probably mostly know who you are, but maybe give just a quick version of who is Rowe?
Yeah, a long history. To be honest, I won't go through all of it. But basic is I've been playing SMITE for, I want to say 12 years, but we might be at the 13 mark now. But very early on, I started playing SMITE, played a lot of competitive, was competitive from the Australian region, eventually moved to the European region and was coaching NRG at the time. Then when the SBL came in-house, I moved to the US in 2019, I think, early 2019, and haven't moved back since. And then 2 years ago now, 2.5 years ago, I went in-house at Hi-Rez and started as customer support for 9 months, moved to QA for 11 months, and now I've been in design for, I don't know, about 6 months. So I'm just collecting all the hats along the way. Don't know what's next, but I'm pretty liking it.
Yeah, I'm doing a great job. Yeah. And been doing a lot on SMITE 1, like design, and then kind of transitioning into SMITE 2 recently.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, shall we get into some God reveals, gentlemen? Are we
ready?
Do it.
Let's do it. I'm
stoked.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to bring up the handy dandy laptop, and we are going to talk about Agni up first. Let's see if we have audio here. I hear some basic attacks.
I can hear some basic attacks. Yeah.
Chat should be able to hear. So we were talking a little bit about it on the wait screen, but Rowe, do you want to kick us off on Agni discussion? I know Agni is a god, super popular in SMITE 1, got a lot of heavy changes towards the later end of SMITE 1, but now making his way into SMITE 2.
Yeah, so in SMITE 2, we wanted to keep it relatively light and just kind of clean him up and some quality of life changes, plus a little +1 there. But generally, we felt really, really good about his SMITE 1 kit. Being around for a very long time, we made an exciting change in the last year, I think, on SMITE to allow him to kind of move during his ult. We've made some quality of life changes there. We've given him a small +1, like I said. And just generally bringing him to SMITE 2 just always feels like a big upgrade as well. We look at all the timings, we compare his parity with SMITE 1, and we try to make it a little bit better everywhere we can. There's some changes to the costumes as well. All new FX is a big one. So we can walk through the +1s to start with, I think. And then
I know. I didn't level my ult on purpose because that is the first +1.
There's actually a hidden quality of life +1 that is already on the screen, where he starts with his passive charge now.
Yes, yeah. It's just there were small annoyances, not just this, but elsewhere in his kit as well. That just like, oh, why do I have to deal with this in SMITE 1?
Yeah,
you don't have to deal with it anymore. Us designers have a lot more control over all this stuff now in UE5, so we can kind of make those changes. And I think all of them are just strictly positive. They were just frustrations that were coming from SMITE 1 on a relatively clean god, so just taking those away, it just makes it feel like the cleanest god ever.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's talk about the ultimate, which is kind of counterintuitive from the way that we kind of go through gods, but I think it's important to call out. I don't have my ultimate leveled up yet, but a +1 to Agni in SMITE 2 is, if I level it, I immediately gain access to all of my bombs.
Level 5 plays were really, really strong as Agni already, just because he's a great early game god. Now you really want to get level 5 because you immediately get 3 bombs and you can play aggressive immediately. Before, you just kind of have to wait until you have, basically until the next wave until you can play really aggressive. But now you just get them immediately and it feels way better. And you can see it above the head. You see the 3 meteors pop up. You see it on the passive meter, and then like you said, 3 uses of the bomb straight away.
Yeah, definitely a big power spike now at level 5, but much better than the 0 power spike at level 5 previously.
You gotta wait. It just felt bad. You have to wait,
anticlimactic,
10, 15 seconds to get your first bomb after leveling. So it should be really good, especially if you're hitting level 5 in lane. You can immediately start turning in mid if your jungler's with you. That's a really big power spike.
Yeah, Agni players will feel good about this, and just if you're playing against Agni, just watch out a little bit around that level because now he finally gets the power spike at level 5 like everybody else.
Yes. All right. Well, let's talk about the passive up next, which has a new component to it. Combustion now has a new effect where Agni goes on a hot streak after killing an enemy god. Rowe, you want to explain what the hot streak is?
Sure, yeah, this is our +1 for Agni. So if he kills an enemy god, he immediately goes on this 10-second, I think, hot streak, and that's the way he has his full passive the entire time. So he's doing a lot of extra damage during that time. He has some extra effects. In fact, if you want to get your full passive here, just like auto attack a god 4 times, use it, or you can kill him,
I'll just kill this level 1. 1 second, let me reduce my cooldowns here. Boom, and
all right. His hands fully lit, his back is lit for a short amount of time, and he has this buff ticking down in 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 8 seconds. Always has his full 4 passive stacks there. And then once they're gone, he's back to normal. But if you get a kill, you can snowball really hard. So again, we can go back to that level 5 mark. If it's you and your jungler in the lane at level 5 and the enemy in their jungler, really try hard to get that big power spike level 5, get that kill, and then you can get another kill off top of that as well because you have your full passive.
Yeah, should be really good for Agni players. All right. Of course, we've still got our Noxious Fumes.
That's right.
First ability works the same.
Well, there are some changes here. In fact, we can talk about Smite 1 weirdness a little bit, real quick. So his 2 and his Noxious Fumes, their hitboxes had some weird things in Smite 2 when it comes to have to being correct in world space. It's probably too much to explain, and it's useless to most players. But right now, it should be very, very accurate in Smite 1. So if you put your 1 down, you'll see that there's this inner circle, but you can see the gas is kind of going out further from that circle as well. So that whole location is where you can get this done. And it was a little bit like that in Smite 1, but should be a lot more accurate in Smite 2.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. There was some weirdness in Smite 1 depending on world space that players wouldn't be able to see, but just it behaved differently, so that's being cleaned up as well.
All right, then we got Flame Wave. All the effects are so good.
Yeah, the part I like as well, I like this with fire abilities a lot, but if you 2 through the grass here, you kind of see the grass disappear and then come back.
Oh, that's sick.
Burns
Nice.
away. I think that's really cool. Raw basic attacks or his AO2 basic attacks do that as well. I think those things are fun. And it just allows you to see the FX, which have all been upgraded as well.
Yeah, this is great. And you've still got all the interactions to where you can 2-1.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of work put into to just get the timings right. That's a lot of our job sometimes with porting over Smite 1 gods. It's just to get these timings feeling exactly right. We're all very sensitive to these timings, and Agni especially. You want to be able to 2-1, not 1 before you 2.
Right.
You want to be able to bomb stun very quickly. You want to be able to chain your bombs very quickly, so you can just spam your bombs really quick. It all feels like that.
All right.
Our priorities here were just very clean and good field.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
All right.
And I will, Chad has noticed, he does have a new voice actor as well.
Ah, yes, that's a good call out.
Yes, we did need to change his voice actor due to some issues with the previous voice actor that we no longer wanted to be affiliated with, which I will not go into further details on. But yeah, new voice packs. Maybe we could listen to just do some VGS for a little bit and let people hear the new voice pack a bit more.
You rock!
I always love doing the laugh. Oh, the laugh.
Oh, the laugh's not hooked up. Okay.
Attack left lane!
Uh-oh.
Oh, that VAAs don't work in practice.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. There.
Attack the Gold Fury!
Uh-oh.
Attack right lane! Defend middle lane!
Cool. So I think that kind of gives you
Yeah.
a feel for the new voice pack. I think it kind of has the same vibe, but I like it. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
that was important to keep the same kind of vibe, just to make it sound kind of similar, but get away from the other issues.
All right, moving on to the AO3 that has a +1 quality of life kind of combo feature. Rowe, you want to walk us through what's going on with the AO3 here.
I don't remember this one exactly. If you want to walk through it first. So Mulan was my god. Wow,
Yeah, actually. So the 3 is now a spline,
Oh yes.
which should make it feel a lot better when you are
looks a lot
dashing
better as
near or into walls.
That's right. So this
Yeah.
is-
Previously, you would have probably gotten stuck on that wall in Smite 1. You would have stopped at the wall.
Yeah, and one's way you slid across, the FX would like kind of jagged
Yeah.
and really just kind of be inaccurate to the hitbox. But now very smooth dash along this curved wall. You can see a nice curved dash. This tech we took from Soul's AO3. She has a similar spline, and like Cupid Dash has that spline as well. So just much cleaner in UE5. And if for some crazy reason we wanted to, it would work if we allowed the dash to turn as well. So much cleaner, much more accurate hitbox.
Yeah, it's crazy how the VFX just follow that.
It's beautiful,
Whatever direction you're going, if you hit a wall, it's awesome.
And anywhere in
The
there,
ultimate.
stun will work as well.
Rain fire. I guess we should call out full int scaling for
Yes,
Agni.
yep. Didn't really make sense to go to encourage a
Yeah.
strength Agni. I'm sorry. For people that want to get a bit crazy, you can still do it with your basic stacks if you wish, but wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
And then we had some quality of life adjustments on the ult as well. So back to Smite 1 for a second, we made that change within the last year where it slows down when stopping. Now in Smite 2, he comes to that slow gradually and then speeds up gradually as well. So it's a much smoother feel rather than just like an instant stop, 50% and go again. It's much, much smoother. So
Yeah, that's
again,
nice. I didn't even realize that until you mentioned it. I
Right,
was like,
yeah.
oh yeah, it is
Yeah.
just so smooth.
Yeah, again, we're just trying to focus on keeping everything clean. That is kind of just quintessential to the Smite roster.
Chat asks if you can blink while dashing.
Let's see.
Give it a shot. Yeah,
Does not seem so.
Does not seem so, but no, I
Yeah.
am not getting it, chat. Maybe it's a laptop, mashed potato keyboard, but I'm not getting it. All right, well, that I believe is all for Agni.
Yep.
Again, really popular Smite 1 god,
Very, yeah.
really top performing Smite god. Didn't need a whole lot, but we've got some quality of life stuff with the 3 and the ultimate. We've got the combustion passive feature, as well as being able to hit that level 5 power spike, which I think players are really going to feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I
Round
think
it out.
it's just today and tomorrow there will kind of be a theme where one of the gods has fewer changes than the other because they just have a really good clean kit and doing too much to change
right,
it did not seem like a good idea.
Yeah.
So I think there's more interesting things to talk about Mulan or Wa Mulan, should I say?
Wa Mulan, yeah.
But do we want to look at his Ascension Pass stuff now, or do we want to go straight to Wa Mulan?
I am down for either or. What do y'all want to do?
Let's do his Ascension Pass,
All
and
right,
then we'll
cool.
go through
I'll bring us back
Mulan
to Cam's
and-
here, and I will bring up the Ascension Pass stuff.
Not to leak anything.
Normally we save them both for last, but I like the idea of breaking things up a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit different here. So Agni, I'm bringing up the laptop again. So this is his God page.
Love this god screen now.
It's
as well.
great. I love the details and stuff, but Agni's looking good here. Nice presentation on the pedestal. But if we go to Mastery for Ascension Passes, we've got Shadow
The
Agni.
shadow looks nice.
I know. Nice and dark. And then we've got his first tracker, total amount of damage on gods from combustion. So the passive. So
Yes, yep.
if you're getting those hot streaks, it's going to build that tracker up quicker.
Yeah, we want to encourage people to just really use the passive well, because that's like where you go from just kind of an average Agni player to a really good Agni player if you utilize your passive. So through these trackers, we're going to teach players like kind of how to play the god as well. Yeah.
Of course, you've got your Mastery emote for like all Ascension Passes, your clap, objective destroyed, god assists. Next up, gas leak. Oh, that's a funny name.
That is good.
So number of times that noxious fume explosion stun 2+ gods.
Yep.
So
Yep. Pretty simple on that one.
encouraging people to get those stuns.
Now we just need to talk Clumsy into making the aspect be a support aspect.
Oh, there
where
you
you
go.
get stacks of the noxious fumes instead of your
Oh, that could be
bombs.
cool.
Yeah.
And then no, probably a bad idea.
Oh, we're cooking. All right, next up, Onyx Agni, the classic black and gold. Looks great.
Always good, simple.
We've got Opal up next.
Ooh, I like the
Our
opal on
new
him.
mastery treatment in Smite 2. Oh, yeah, the Opal looks great.
Yeah, he's,
Oh, I even love like the little oranges on his little robe there. That looks sick. All right, and then we've got the global emote. These are always fun. You're thinking. Oh, this was great.
Yeah, we got the two heads both thinking.
Yes. Then we've got the wave emote. The title is Fiery.
Yep, makes sense.
You've got your God Kills. You've got your badge. And then we've got Radiant Agni.
This is sick.
Ooh.
Yeah. The robe is really sick.
Oh yeah, the cloth with
Oh,
like the
yeah.
gold embroidery.
This one's sick. The
Yeah,
Radiant
that's
skins
nice.
are always so good.
Yeah.
This is great. And then, of course, last but not least, the card effects.
Yep. What
Can't
else
go
could it be?
wrong.
Yeah.
Right? You can't
It
go
has to
wrong
be
with
this.
this.
Whoever
A lot of
named
fire.
this, Caution Highly Flammable, that's a great name. I enjoy that. Just to clarify, chat, I was just bullshitting about the aspect.
Yeah.
It's not actually this aspect. We don't
Yeah,
know.
we haven't
We have not
started
made an
yet.
aspect for Agni yet.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, probably both of these gods.
But
that
if
we
you have
haven't,
ideas, chat, drop them in chat, drop them in Reddit, Discord. We're always looking at feedback for that
Yep.
kind of stuff.
Mhm.
All right. I'm going to bring us back to Cam
Yeah,
and then prep for Hua Mulan. Rowe, since you took point on
Yep.
Hua Mulan, you want to kind of give us the low and dirty preamble before we go in game on
Yeah,
how we
sure.
approached her?
Well, let's first talk about the name change as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name change is not even fully accurate. So we did a poll several months ago now, and I don't remember the exact results of the poll, but it was pretty close to 50-50, which is kind of worst case scenario for us. It makes our choices a lot harder. We would have much rather if it's like all of the community want this, sure, we'll do this. So what we've done here is we've changed her default skin to the masked version, as well as the name to Hua Mulan, which she always says when you select her in the lobby already. And then we've given you the unmasked skin for free. So every account that has, maybe just every account, but at least every account that has Mulan unlocked will have both skins. So you still have your choice, which is kind of what we had to do when it comes to a 50-50 poll.
All right. We are here. Let's talk about Hua Mulan and her plus ones. And for the eagle-eyed chatters, they may notice something different about Mulan's loadout here.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about the mask. but
Yeah,
there is
I know,
some-
right?
some- the loadout, too.
No,
Yeah.
we've got what's going on with the consumable slot here,
Yeah,
bro?
so you'll
What's
see
going on?
a little banner down there. So she has a +1 as part of her passive where she loads into the game and then on a cooldown, she gets a banner added to her consumable inventory and she can obviously use that. And when she uses that, it is consumed and then goes on cooldown for, I think it's 180 seconds. And she can place a banner down and that banner within this circle area gives increased XP to all of your allies, including yourself. So if you're standing within that banner, this is the training grounds banner, you can kind of train quicker, just like Mulan's whole theme is always training up, and you get 5% increased XP right now in the middle of that banner. I will say that we're kind of still tweaking these numbers, the size of the area, the numbers of the attributes that you get. So you may see some different values by the time it comes live,
Yep.
and even on today's playtest, or not playtest, I should say,
Flash test.
Flash test. So I'm playtesting every day. But it'll be the same theme. So the theme is you're just training a lot faster within this banner, and then outside of the banner, you actually gain movement speed when you're facing it. So think like Gilgamesh 3, but it's actually a much, much bigger range. And it's also unique in that when you're further away from it, you gain more movement speed towards it. So when you get closer to it, you get a little less movement speed, but the idea is that Mulan can place it down and her allies can rush to her aid or rush to the training grounds to train faster. So the idea, early game, you're using it for experience. You want to level up faster than your opponent. You kind of be strategic with where you want to place that down. Give it to yourself if you're clearing a wave, clearing some jungle camps, or maybe throw it to an ally and give them the
Oh,
increased
yeah, that's a good
experience.
point. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about it. Just, making a small trip to like mid lane or using
That's
the
right.
teleporter to hit duo, placing the banner down. Yeah.
We were talking about Agni power spikes to level 5. If you want to get your Agni to level 5 faster before the enemy the enemy mid laner is level 5, then give him a training grounds banner
That's
and
awesome.
he'll get the extra experience.
And the banner lasts for, it seems like about 30 seconds or so.
45 seconds it is right now. Still pending, it may change. Still experimenting with those times. In fact, give all your feedback in today's flash test. That'll help. There's a lot of variables here that we can tweak to really make this not only balanced but fun as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that.
And then also I noticed when you planted the banner, there were some pips along the top of it, right?
Correct, yeah. Enemy players can destroy the banner as well. It's got 5 health right now. We're still, again, tweaking that. We could make it not destroyable right now. It'll block basic attacks, so you can use it strategically in that way. But also, an enemy can stop the enemy, the Mulan or her teammates from getting the extra experience by destroying the banner. And when you destroy the banner, the effect is gone, obviously. And the cooldown of the banner as well, before it gets re-added to our consumable inventory, is your debuff icon there as well. So still a remaining cooldown on that, but when it comes off of cooldown, it'll get automatically added to her consumable slot. If her consumable slots are full, we just kind of listen to wait until you have a space. As soon as you have that space, we fill it immediately.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting back to training, you know?
Exactly. The idea is that we want people to use it as much as possible as well. Keep it out of your inventory. That's how you make the most use of it. I always kind of gave that advice when I was talking to newer players, is to just use your abilities as often as possible.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to manage your mana, but use anything that is effective, just use it as much as possible, and you'll get used to using it for the most effective ways while doing that.
Cool. All right. So I think a lot of the rest of her +1s kind of go into the passive. So
Yep.
I will do my own little training arc while we talk about it and show off some of the abilities here.
Yeah. So AO1, sorry, I should say the 1, the 2, the 3, all should be pretty much the same as Smite 1. You play around them the same way. We have timing adjustments on kind of all of them just to make it feel a little bit better. It's not always noticeable by players, but we're trying to account for latency now as well. So if you have around...
That animation is sick.
So if you have around 50 to 100 ping, we hope it will actually feel better as well. But all the effects are still there, The 1 gives you the attack speed. When you have it fully ranked up, the permanent attack speed. The 2, you heal from targets, you get the second strike, and you get a 5% strength. I guess also worth noting now that she is strength only, no intelligence, and
Your
no
middle
intelligence
tower is
scaling,
under attack.
just all strength. And then the 3 as well, same as usual, grapple to a god, grapple to a wall. Got some protections if you grapple to a god, which you've got now. And then when you have them all fully ranked up, so they're actually all rank 3 right now.
Yeah.
And to go to rank 4, you have to keep hitting gods. And at that point, you get permanent buffs of all 3 of your abilities. And that's actually where the +1 comes in. So when you get everything mastered, you have to realize that your ult uses all your weapons.
Yeah.
So you start with the sword, then you go the spear, and then you go the bow and arrow, or the arrow, the projectile.
All right. I've got my sword.
There you go. So previously in Smite 1, your ultimate will do a straight dash, just like that, and then go into the other phases. If you have your sword mastered on Smite 2, your sword part of your ultimate will be enhanced. So what we've done there is you're able to actually turn during this dash. So go ahead. So the actual values are you're able to turn 90 degrees in that 1 second dash. So the way to visualize that is instead of a straight dash, you now have a cone, a 90-degree cone, and you can dash to anywhere at the end of that cone. So you can dash around walls, feels really good. If a player is running away into the jungle, you can kind of dash around like that. Yeah, and then if we keep ranking up the 2, which will take some time.
I'm working on it. I'm working.
You might have to spawn more guys.
I'm going to basic.
These come into play pretty late in the game. Training around to get you there faster, obviously. But that's for your early game, mid game, and then the +1 for the ultimate.
Yeah.
So I'll start talking about the spear part as well. So the spear is the big knock-up that is the second phase of the ultimate. And we've added a gameplay effect to that knock-up where you kind of daze the opponents. And by that I mean increase their active cooldowns by 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So right now you won't be able to see it unless you're the enemy, really. But if an opponent uses a bunch of abilities on you, and then you knock them up with ult with your 2 mastered, it will increase their active cooldown. The fact he does this. It just allows you to have better boxing potential and kind of really make that knock up a little bit more powerful.
Yeah.
Without indexing further on that. You want to add a slow or add a taller knock up because it's already quite powerful. So it just gives you an extra way to play around that too.
Cool. And I've got my bow mastered now.
Perfect.
I'm all set.
Yep. This one will be a little hard to see as well. So if you imagine Griffin Wing from Smite 1, where we increase the projectile speed of your basic attacks, we're doing the same thing with the arrow in your ultimate. So if you go all the way now to your 3rd stage, the arrow is actually quite a lot faster and therefore easier to hit. So we really want to encourage players, if they've mastered their arrow, to stay in that full ultimate, get all 3 stages without canceling it, and get that arrow much easier to hit. It is a good amount of damage.
Isaiah, can we turn the volume down on the game just a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit?
1
maybe?
second.
Rowe, maybe
Chat,
mic just a little bit closer.
Setting, audio, boom, boom. All right. Should be. How's that, chat?
Is that better?
Testing. Should be better, I hope.
Better.
Better.
Chat says better.
Okay,
Sorry
awesome.
about that.
Yeah. Just the sound effects are so good. We
I
can
know,
play
right?
them
Yeah,
live.
the audio feed is cooking.
But yeah, so basically, just to recap, as you master each of your abilities, the ultimate gains an additional effect that's tied to that stance.
Yep.
So the first one, when you master your swords, you can turn up to 90 degrees while you're going forward. The second one, when you're doing the knock-up, you add 3 seconds to their active cooldowns.
Yep.
And then the fourth one, it fires the arrow faster.
Yes, correct. Yep, all correct. So basically, you just, and a lot of people, had to explain this to a lot of people, surprisingly, internally, but people don't realize that your abilities aren't done leveling up at when they change this kind of orange icon. You do have the extra stage that you had to do there, so it does come into play in the later game. Or if you just focus on a particular ability, you can, if you max your one is therefore doing more damage. It becomes easier to stack. Therefore, you get the dash around corners faster. You can do this the same with any of her abilities.
Yeah. You still got the permanent, attack speed, the permanent strength, and the movement speed and protectance for getting the max ranks of all the different abilities.
A lot of stats actually in the late. She's just walking around with 4 buffs on her right now. Just because she's got a lot of scalings. And her descriptions were a feat in their own. There's just a lot of text in here because there's a lot of effects on Mulan's abilities. So
Is Hua Mulan.
And I believe this, because we switched to the skin as the default, I believe all the VGS should be the skin's VGS now.
That should be correct.
Truly godlike. Attack left lane. Attack right lane. Defend the middle lane. Defend the fire giant.
So apparently we have the normal Mulan voice hooked up right now.
Maybe we do.
We'll have to go back and
We'll
talk
have
with
to
the
look.
team.
Yeah.
That's what this is for.
Okay.
All right. We have a couple of quality of life adjustments as well. Biggest one to me, I think, is maybe the only one to go over. The others are mostly just small timing stuff. But in Smite 1, she kind of stops after she dashes if you cancel your dash in your ult. So if you just dash and right-click while you're dashing, now in Smite 2, you should just kind of keep your velocity for the most part and just kind of keep moving. Whereas before, if you were escaping with your ultimate, you'd have to cancel it, and then you just kind of stop there for, I think it was 0.8 of a second, which feels like a long time. But now she just kind of keeps her velocity and keeps moving. If you cancel, it's kind of precise timing, but if you cancel during the spear knockup, that cancel is faster, so you can actually move into whatever action you want to do after the spear knockup. The one that I like is you can do basically what you were doing there, whereas knock them up and then pull them towards you as well. And because of some changes we made pretty recent in Smite 1 in the last year, maybe year and a half, you can get your full ultimate even without hitting a god, right? If people don't remember, 2 years ago you would have to hit a god with the dash to get the subsequent parts. But now you don't need to, so you can kind of dash all the way up a lane and then knock them up at max range and then pull them while they're knocked up, so you can pull them into the enemy team, which is really fun as well. And then I imagine we'll get the question, but I assume and I hope you can't blink during this dash. Some other adjustments as well, still coming for the AO3. We have, man, the animations for this ability are tough. There's a lot being managed by code. And if we're dashing when we're close to a wall, then the animation has to be faster. If we're further away, it's actually a different animation. If we're pulling a god, then she does a slash. There's a lot to manage there, so there's still some work being done there. But still, call out any problems you see in the flash
absolutely.
test.
Yep, we'll definitely be looking forward to people playing in the flash test, getting all the feedback, all the bug reports and stuff.
Right.
Does the 3 still allow you to rotate your camera? Somebody has been asking.
Yes, that's still in there. You can still rotate your camera while you're aiming. The other change we've done as well, I don't think Smite 1 had this, but we keep the target up until it actually fires. So since you can rotate now, we want you to be able to see where you're actually aiming, and so it should be even easier to hit than it is on Smite 1 because you get to see the targeter, unless you're on instant cast or quick cast.
Very cool.
Nice.
Oh, questions about the banner. Does the banner increase your weapon training experience or just your normal experience?
Yeah, no, we felt like that was a bit too fast, especially for certain abilities like the AO3. It's just your normal experience, and that way it's useful to you and your allies equally.
Cool.
Yep. Cool. All right, well, I'm going to bring us back to cams, and I will bring up the Ascension Pass.
So our question as well, does the banner block movement? It does not. Everybody can walk through it. Enemies can just hit it, that's all.
And here we go.
And the one thing that's the hardest to wrap your mind around about the new Hua Mulan is that she is alphabetically under H for Hua Mulan, not under M for Mulan. So you will be looking for her in the character select for a while, but you will find her eventually.
Yeah. Just make sure you use your filters. If you want to use search, you can just still search for Mulan. You can probably even type in MUL and it'll show up as well. Trying to keep it as easy as possible, but yes, starts with an H now.
Cool. All right, I'm bringing up the mastery, and we've got Shadow Hua Mulan up first.
The red eyes, always good.
Yeah, that looks very evil.
Yeah, coming out the top of the mask is cool.
Oh yeah, it's sick.
It's like I don't want to get sued, but it looks like a character that we've gotten sued for before.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man! All right, we've got our first tracker. Extra damage, total extra damage from cross strike and spear thrust. So mastering those abilities or getting adept at those abilities gives you the second hits. So
yep, exactly. And then we're just tracking that damage again, trying to encourage players to work through the kit and track the extra parts that you're earning by specializing what the actual kit does.
Yep. Of course, the mastery emote. Then we've got the clap. Got your objectives destroyed, your god assists, weapon mastery. Number of times in matches, Hua Mulan has had all weapons fully mastered. I spotted a typo.
I see that.
We'll get that fixed.
Yes, we will. But yeah, we want to encourage people to just finish all her weapons, and that way you get all the ultimate benefits as well, and you can kind of track the number of times you've done that per match.
Yeah, cool. Next up, we've got Onyx Mulan.
That was good too.
Yeah, they're always super clean. Yeah, I just love the black and gold.
Yeah, this one's sick. I can't wait for Opal. Ooh, looking
the
good.
white hair is sick. Yeah,
I love the how the cloth is just like all that solid purple.
Yeah,
and then the armor.
It's probably worth noting as well. We made a choice here, which we hope isn't controversial, but we have a spear out now, and we're kind of doing this pose instead of like a different sword pose. I really liked this one, so I hope the community does as well. But shout out to DJ, he suggested this, and I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's great. All right, the global emote.
I love this.
Calculating, how I'm gonna master all these weapons. It's great.
Chat likes it. All right.
Perfect.
Next up, we've got the wave. I love it.
Yeah, we'll hide those weapons as well.
Yeah. Then the title is Ascendant.
Ooh, that's a good one
for the Ascension Pass. Yeah. Then you got your God kills. You've got your badge. We've got the Radiant skin, and I know for a fact, unfortunately, the card effects are still in progress, so we don't have them today, but they are in progress. Like Alex was saying in a previous show, it's kind of one of the last things to come in for Ascension passes, but I love the Radiant skin here for Mulan.
Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah, the glow around all of our weapons is always really cool as well.
Looks great.
And then I guess we could also look at the classic skin. Just probably in the loadout.
Loadout. Here we go. Unmasked Warrior.
Yep. Simple as that. Everybody should have this. If you don't, just yell at me and we'll take care of it.
And I believe we made the change till even if you don't own the god, you still will get this skin unlocked. So if it's on free rotation and you want to try out Mulan, you'll still have access to the skin.
Yep. That's how we just try to make everybody happy, even though it was pretty 50-50 on these polls. But we're really happy with the changes we've made.
Yeah. Great.
And speaking of unlocking gods,
we want to double back. And talk about this again.
I'm going to talk about this probably every day this week, and we're going to put more out about this, but just to make sure everybody understands what's changing as we go into our next update. Up until now, we haven't had a good way of unlocking gods as a free-to-play player. So we have just had all of the gods on free rotation.
Yeah.
That's going to stop when we start our next patch, because there's going to be a way to unlock gods, and that's going to be god tokens. It's a very simple system. Every time your account levels up, you will get a god token. Currently, it's set to go up to level 50 because that's about how many gods are in the game.
Yep.
Once we add more gods, we'll add more levels of god tokens. It's not a big deal. We just don't want people to be sitting on a lot of god tokens they can't use. If you have purchased a Founders Edition and you just have all the gods unlocked, then you will instead get 100 diamonds per level up to level 50. Yeah, so you'll get 5,000 diamonds, which is basically the price of the Founders Edition.
Right.
So you'll essentially earn back the value of the $30 Founders Edition just by playing the game up to level 50. I will say we are changing the level curve slightly, so you will most likely come down slightly in level from where you are right now once we do that. But it should be a very quick progression to unlock god tokens, especially at the beginning, where every game or 2 games or 3 games, you're getting another god token for the first 10 levels or so. And then it'll slow down a little bit, but we don't want it to become just like this crazy grind. We just want to have like a steady flow of gods.
Yes.
So somebody says, what if we bought the big edition? It's not 5,000 diamonds. That's for the portion of the Founders Edition that is kind of the God pack, right? You got a lot of other stuff that was included in that. You got Ascension passes, you got a lot of other stuff.
Which also have free diamonds,
Which do have a lot of free diamonds in them. So, so I think it's a pretty neat change. So something to look forward to. We will continue to do god rotations, but I think it'll be about 5 gods on rotation. So even if you haven't gotten any tokens to unlock gods, you'll still have some gods to choose. But yeah, we're pretty excited for that. And that will be coming out with the next update. So something to look forward to.
Yeah, Alex, sorry, this is, do you know how often we're going to be changing the god rotations?
I don't know if we're 100% locked in, but I would assume it's probably either once an update.
Yeah, once every couple weeks.
Yeah,
like
that's my rough guess.
Yeah, and the idea is that 5 gods in rotation, 1 per role in Conquest.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, that is kind of our big kind of reveal section for Agni and Hua Mulan. Super excited for players to get their hands on these new gods in the flash test later today. Well, we've got a little bit of time for Q&A. So shall we just open up the floor and see what chat wants to talk about today?
Yeah, and one thing before we get into it, just as a reminder, flash test later today where you'll be able to play Agni and Hua Mulan. Plus, we'll still have Aladdin on. We'll still have the aspects on. The more people that play, the better, because we find new things that we can fix before it goes live. So please play. We love when you stream. We watch your streams, and it really helps us make the game better.
Can Mulan grapple onto the banner?
No.
Good question.
The banner doesn't have any character collisions, but no, she can't. I think that would be a little strong, just being able to escape whenever you want when you already have your dash as well.
Wait, I'm getting 5K diamonds for free for owning the Founders Edition? Yes, if you are level 50, once this goes live, you'll just have the diamonds added to your account. If you don't own it, you'll get the God tokens instead for however many God tokens you would have earned up to that point.
Do minions and towers target the banner for Mulan?
No. It's just they don't even know it's there, basically.
Okay.
And probably worth noting as well, only gods get the increased XP, maybe not all players know this, but all NPCs on the map actually have levels and XP, but it's just the gods that will get the increased XP from the banner.
People are asking about post-level 50 rewards. We don't have any plans for post-level 50 rewards this time, but always something we could revisit in the future. I think that already earning your value back is pretty compelling proposition.
I see a couple questions about aspects for Mulan and Agni. These 2 gods do not have aspects.
Nope, we just focus on getting the gods into the game first, and then we can work on aspects.
Geb, who we're revealing tomorrow, does have an aspect that we'll go through on tomorrow's show.
Will there be more cosmetics? Eventually, there will be more cosmetics. We are kind of starting work on skins again. The plan is that we want to bring over more classic skins. We need to finish bringing over, and classic skins are the ones that you can just get with legacy gems, right? And we think that we need to have a steady flow of classic skins for you guys to be able to just get with your legacy gems, because that's part of the agreement of moving over from SMITE 1 to SMITE 2, so you get all these legacy gems, and we want you to have something to spend them on, right? So steady flow of classic skins. And then also we need to finish bringing over the cross-gen skins and the Divine Legacy skins from SMITE 1 that we haven't completely finished yet and brought over to SMITE 2. And then we also want to bring over some all-new skins, but we're just trying to balance those 3 buckets of things. But I will say we'll start to have some all-new skins soon. We're kind of back to the point where we got through this big wave of gods that we were trying to get through. We have a little bit more capacity to start working on those again.
See a lot of questions for what we're talking about for the rest of the week. Have we announced exactly that?
So tomorrow is Geb and Uller.
Yep.
Friday is Joust. And if you're a Joust enjoyer, the idea then is that Flash Test that evening will be just Joust. We won't even have Conquest turned on in Flash Test. It'll just be, we want to get people playing Joust and finding issues with it, right? So that should be really exciting. And then on Monday, we're kind of going to do the same, but for Assault is the current plan. Keep in mind that Assault is on the Conquest map. We've said that a lot of times before, so don't go expecting we're going to show off 2 all new maps, over the next few days. But we will have the Joust map is all new and it's looking really good.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the Assault map is, in the mid lane of the Conquest map with some changes to make it work, but is a simpler, thing than the Joust map is. Chat's going fast today. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is tough to keep up.
When is the next closed alpha update? So we aren't planning any major updates to the current closed alpha until we get to the next big update.
Yeah.
There may be some minor bug fixes and things, but I'm not expecting a lot. Just to be transparent, because starting in about 3 or 4 days, everybody goes on vacation. Not us necessarily. I mean, a lot of us will be going on vacation, but it's the holidays. If you weren't aware, please do your Christmas shopping if you celebrate. But the platforms all go on vacation, so we can't safely submit major updates during like the 2-week period that is like Christmas and New Year's, because they aren't in office to fix it if anything goes wrong on their end. And if you remember, like a week and a half ago, Xbox didn't have access to Smite 2 for a day because something went wrong on Microsoft's end. Yeah. And we don't want to get into the state where for 2 weeks people can't play Smite 2 on a certain platform. So we may do some server-side fixes. We actually were looking at one this morning tied to Eros's bow and gods that switch their in-hand attacks, like Bologna, and there was a way that you could like get locked out of being able to attack while you're using Eros's bow. So things that we can fix server side, we'll still probably push a couple of those live, but I wouldn't expect a major update coming to the live servers until this next big update that's going to have 5 gods, Joust, Assault, just tons aspects, tons of stuff. So double worshippers, soon?
Yeah, soon. Believe the plan is to kick that off starting Monday next week and run it the whole week in Smite 2. So,
yeah, correct. No new gods in live until after the new year, but then we'll have a very steady flow for the foreseeable future. I will say.
So some questions about Duel as well. Will we have Duel available to play on the flash test?
Oh yeah, we probably will have Joust and Duel on Friday. Sorry, I just kind of lump them together in my head. Yeah,
and they will be on the same map if that wasn't obvious.
Aphrodite 3D model. I've seen the Reddit posts about that. And the art team was looking at that, and they think part of it may be like weirdness caused by the camera angle in that specific pose. They also think that like potentially part of her rig may be weighted incorrectly, which is causing the model to deform inappropriately. So definitely something they're looking at. I don't have an ETA on if that fix is going to be in the January update, just like day one, or, if it's something that we'll get to later, but I'm definitely aware of it. I think you can see that we do listen to all of your feedback and we read your threads. There was a nice follow-up thread today from the guy who wasn't happy with the initial Pele release, saying, hey, look, they fixed everything. We do read it. We try and fix everything. I think he had a couple more little notes, but we try and get to things as much as we can for sure. HDR and Xbox Win, I answer this every day. We're still working on it. I don't have an update. Yeah, I need to ask Sean about console PTS if that's something that we can actually do. I will. I'm going to send him a message right now. If he responds during the show, then we'll see what we can do.
When's Rowe coming back? Yeah, he had to get disabled. He was a T-posing chicken in Smite 2 Live. I know the team is working actively to fix that, and we want Rowe back on the battleground as soon as possible. So.
Yeah, the answer is always as soon as possible, but we couldn't have him just kind of floating around the map like that. It wasn't very good for gameplay.
Someone in chat says T-pose Rowe was my goat.
I'm glad people enjoyed it while it was there.
Yeah.
People asking about Aladdin and I guess New Gods in general at Vegas. That all depends. We saw a decent amount of issues with Aladdin yesterday. If the gods aren't allowed, it'll be because they have issues, right? And that's why we're getting these testing starting like as soon as possible today for Wan Mulan and Agni. So basically, just if we get all the reports and we fix everything in time, then absolutely we want them allowed. But in the end, it'll be up to the esports department and the players as well.
Yeah, I saw a note from the team they were trying to spin up the private server for everyone who's
Right.
qualified to Vegas today. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Yes.
they should be able to get access to the build
Yeah, and
by tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
But hopefully today.
yeah.
Hopefully today.
Ideally,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's the NA server is already up for them, and we're still working on getting the U one.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, no. The goal is that everything's playable at Vegas. If not, then it is like you said, it's a bug. There's
That's
a
right,
reason
yeah.
why we had to disable it.
Yep. Yeah. So, in case that wasn't obvious, yeah, the players, everyone qualified for Vegas or qualifying for Vegas will be able to play this patch earlier, just so they can patch it. They won't, so they can scrim on it. They won't be able to stream it, I'm guessing. I don't imagine they'd want to stream their scrims anyway, leading into a big tournament. But they will have access to it before most other players, so they can get a good amount of practice and give their best showing at Vegas.
Yeah.
They're also our beta testers in a way as well, so we appreciate all their bug reports.
Any news about the second half January God? Are they on track for January or not? I would expect most of them will be in January, and the ones that are not will be very shortly thereafter. I think that part of it also was like we ran the risk of, if we rushed to get everything in on that initial timeline that we were talking about, we were going to have a dead zone of nothing for a while, because all of our resources would have gone to been like,
Right.
get it out, and then we wouldn't be able to get ahead on anything else. So I think we made the choice to spread things out just a tiny bit, but you'll still get the vast majority of everything that we initially had targeted for January in January, and the rest of it very, very shortly after January. So we will have more of an update on the roadmap after this first patch that we're talking about at Vegas.
Yep.
We're going to have a roadmap show on Sunday.
Yes.
So tune in for that. We'll be talking about like the list of gods coming after this first wave, and when you should expect to see things, plus some other new features. I know I've seen some people asking about battle passes. I think that's going to be one of the topics for the show, and then we'll see what else we have to talk about. So lots of fun stuff.
Are you considering adding the wall climbing mechanic to Arachne? I heard AJ and Pon, they saw the Reddit thread. So it's definitely on our radar. I feel like Arachne is not even in a glimpse in our minds at this point, but maybe when we do start talking about Arachne, we've got the tech now. So
Yeah. But I've opened that wall run blueprint, and it's scary.
yeah.
Like Pon and Josh as well together, just geniuses working on
Yes.
that.
Oh, yeah.
But if we can reuse it, that would be cool to do.
Yeah, I think it's like, how do you do it in a way where it still feels unique to the characters
Yeah.
that have it, and it's not just like, oh, we have this new toy, let's give it to everybody.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So something to think about. How will CC buffering against affect Chang'e? Not a thing that we have thought about yet. We'll get to it when we get there.
Yeah. Is the Smite 2 Trello for bugs still active, relevant? I believe so. If not, it's relatively recent.
Yeah, I
it's a
know,
lot to keep up with.
Kitten of Doom
Yeah.
has been owning that and
Yeah.
done a great job at keeping everything that we've, especially with us patching and hot fixing so much. There's a lot.
No.
Any gods that we are excited for personally?
I've never been more excited about a patch. I'll say
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I really enjoy my job and working right now, so I will, during my evenings, just work some more because I get to create these gods and it's really fun. But this is the first patch where I've been just like, I have to play.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can call out a particular
Catch
god.
Rowe in the ranked queues
but
whenever this
yeah,
match
I'll
goes
be
live.
there for sure. But it's hard to say. Aladdin is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
That is a really exciting god, and new stuff is always fun.
Mulan is my favorite Smite 1 god, so I'm
There you
just
go.
super stoked to finally get her into Smite 2.
Yeah, so people are like, boring answer. We aren't going to tell you gods that are coming. Just relax, okay? We're trying the best. There was a couple questions about console ward stuff. We do know that there's an issue. There are some issues around console ward, console minimap pinging. We're aware of that. It's on the to-do list. I'm not sure if it's all getting in for this next update, but we're trying to prioritize it as much as we can. I know it's definitely an issue.
I've seen some questions around Mulan getting it out of combat walk animation. We can talk about it. We could definitely talk to the animation team and see what bandwidth they have. But we just have to remember there's been 5 to, I'll say, 12 tentatively gods in development at any one time for this big patch, and shortly thereafter. So we have to manage our resources pretty precisely for that.
Fino K wants Santa in Smite 2.
Do we have any Santa skins? We have a lot of
gingerbread
Christmas.
Baron skin.
Oh, true. There you go.
No, I think he wants actual Santa.
No, I know what he wants.
Yeah. You're deflecting.
Yeah, Bacchus, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he plays Baron anyway. He doesn't need another one. He's just being greedy at this point.
Does matchmaking fill in players that have left during matches? No. And we think that that's generally a bad experience for a game like ours.
Yeah.
If you're going to play a MOBA, you kind of just need to be the kind of person that commits to stick around and play the game out, right? We've been through this a million times. It's like, if we backfill with bots, then people are mad because they become a source of gold, is the perception. If we backfill with players are usually not happy to be thrown into a losing situation, for potentially a very long game, right? Whereas, like, if you get thrown into backfill for a 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute FPS game, it's not as bad, right? It's like, okay, this is over, and then I'm immediately into the next game. So, definitely not something that we're looking to do.
No.
Can Dorothy from Wizard of Oz be a champion? I mean, y'all are cooking out there. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. Like, the thing is, we try and make sure that, like, the characters have some sort of, like, otherworldly power.
Yeah.
Right? And I think everybody that, like, some people are like, there's different, like, not true gods, but like myth figures that are in Smite that are like King Arthur, Merlin, Aladdin, all of these characters still have tremendous power, right? Cthulhu, right? And are kind of like superhuman figures, right? I don't think Dorothy is a superhuman figure, right? One of the ones that we hear a lot is, like, we hear Dracula a lot. Yeah. We hear Robin Hood a lot. We hear like some of the American folklore stuff, like Babe the Blue Ox and Paul Bunyan, and like, I don't know. Like, there's always a line. You never know when you're going to go past it until you go past it. So we're pretty cautious about adding not real gods to the game. And we have kind of a semi-high bar, I would say, internally. And
I would agree.
There's a lot of discussion whenever we decide to do something like this. So maybe we'll get around to characters like that in the future. I would say in the immediate future, we don't have any other non-gods or characters from pantheons we have already visited that are on our we're thinking about list. So definitely a lot of interesting things we can do in a game like Smite 2, but it's always, like I said, it's that balancing act of, like, how do you keep it new, interesting, and exciting, but feeling like they belong. Like, there's people who are like, there was a Reddit thread, or at least a couple posts on Reddit, people were like, Aladdin doesn't belong in Smite 2. It's like, I don't know, he's pretty cool. He does some cool superhuman stuff, He feels kind of godly.
He's got 2 genies,
He's got 2 genies. Come on.
From Monday's Titan Talk, for the jungle camp difficulty change, if the TTK for the camp will remain the same if you have the starter, but longer if you don't, does that mean the starter is getting buffed?
The jungle starters did get buffed. In fact, I think those buffs may have gone out sooner than they should have by accident. So I think they actually got buffed before, or already before the jungle camps themselves were buffed. But the intention is to keep jungle kind of the similar, maybe some small tweaks, but make it a little harder for non-junglers or those without the jungle starters to do the buffs.
Yeah, and we've been getting some feedback on the ambassador Reddit, or not Reddit, Discord, that maybe it's a little bit too far, and now it's like everybody should just start jungle starter. We're still working on it. We'll nail down the balance as we go here.
The plan is to get the balance in a great spot for Vegas.
Yes.
So we're just taking all feedback that we can before then.
we need a HUD editor, please. HUD editor is on our to-do list.
Yeah.
If you've been in PTS, you've probably seen there is a broken version of the HUD editor that you can, you can move things around. You can change the opacity. Anything you do will not save and will not load in the next match you play. So we have more work to do there. I would say very much targeting the first half of next year for HUD editor. There's a couple other things that we need to get done first, but we understand it's a big community concern. Right. I would say console players just very recently, in the last couple of years, got HUD editor on SMITE 1. So it's definitely much more of a PC concern than a console concern, but it's something that we know is important and we do want to get to before too long. And God Builder is the same thing, right? God Builder is another one of those, like, we know it's a big thing that we need, but to do it the right way is just going to take a little bit of time. We really want to get to a place where you can create and share builds, and you can add notes to the build and save skill orders, and basically not just make a build for yourself to use, but share it with everybody. Right?
More of a community feature.
Yeah, and I think that like community feature is really what it needs to get to the next level. It's just going to take us a little bit of time to get there. So please be patient. We are updating all the auto builds for the next update.
I was just working on it this morning and yesterday, but yeah, we have a lot of balance changes, and we've had a lot of balance changes already. So the plan is to have every single auto build updated for every single god in the game. It's getting a lot to manage as we add more and more gods. But yeah, like you said, sometime in the future, would love a community kind of feature for this whole god builder and sharing builds and things like that. But yeah, they will be updated for this update.
There's a question. When will we be able to reorder active abilities? You can now, but it's not ultra intuitive. So you can sort the order of your items on your bar. On PC, if you hold Alt to get your pointer and you click on your item bar and you drag, you can change the order that they're in, and that will change the hotkey that they are assigned to. On console, if you open your tooltip navigation thing on the HUD, you can do the same thing. You can get to that section, you can push A to interact with it, and then you can go to an item and click it and then move it over and then click it. We know that we need to get a more clear way to do that, especially for console, because consoles used to, I believe you just click in left stick to swap your relics. But the thing is, with potentially 3 now, we can't just have click stick to swap, So we've been talking about the best way to implement that. It's a thing that we know we need to get done, but it's probably a little bit further out. Oh, it's already 2.
One more question. Welcome to the show, Rowe. Let's see here. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but are we concerned with everyone buying jungle starters with the changes to the jungle being harder to kill without one?
I would just... Yes, that is a concern. We want people buying all different starters. We want them to express their gameplay in their own ways. We don't want everybody just buying jungle starters. So if that turns out to be what is happening, I think we'll find out pretty quickly from the pro scrims, because they're the ones that normally abuse this first. And like we talked about before, they'll start scrimming on this new patch very, very soon, if not today. So we'll find out pretty quickly and make adjustments pretty quickly. The plan is, like I said before, similar pacing for junglers, a little bit different for everybody else, but we don't want everybody buying the same starters. Definitely not.
There is a this. I don't know if I'm going to count this as my one more question. I always do too. Somebody says, "Are you aware that Sobek's pluck animation doesn't play on console?" I am not aware of that. Is this on a specific skin or is this on a specific console? But let me know, and I can take a look right after this. And then there was another question that I will answer, which is, you guys ever think about a pets patch where you drop gods like Erlang Shen, Scotty, Chang'e, a bunch of gods with pets? That's a fun idea, but unfortunately we have to balance like the workload of doing a god against other gods, right? So generally speaking, we try and have like a hard god and an easy god going at the same time, because it's just like, we can't do a lot of hard gods at the same time. And generally speaking, every pet god is a hard god because they almost all have some unique tech tied to their pet. Plus there's a second like modeled, rigged, animated character that needs to be redone and updated for Smite 2. So really cool. Like, it's a cool idea. I have pitched so many, like, oh, but what if we did all these gods at the same time? And everybody's like, Alex, you're crazy. Like, these are a bunch of really hard gods. So it's a fun idea, but we just have to, like, balance that against what's feasible, right? So in general, we're trying to be a little bit more, I don't want to say random, but a little bit random with the gods that we're doing. We're trying to rotate through roles more than anything else. And we aren't going to be perfect about that, especially at the start. But the goal is that you never have to wait too long for another god of the role that you play or you prefer to play. Smeek says that this Rowe guy is so insightful and cool. And I believe that means it's time for Rowe to select our final question.
Yeah, I saw a good question about adding the most played in these roles to God details. And I think that's generally good. In general, we want to involve as much data as possible. So we'd like that to be data-driven in the future. Same with maybe some builds that could be data-driven, like recommended builds, popular builds, and things like that. So the answer is love to one day in the future, yes, involve more data for things like that. That way it just becomes more intuitive. You know, if I've never played the solo lane before and I pick solo lane and I should be able to see, you know, we already can see the solo lane gods. I can pick one of those and then, you know, it'll recommend me a solo lane build. So yes, we'd love to make that experience as smooth as possible using data. So yeah, good question.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for our Titan Talk today. Chat, thanks so much for hanging out with us for the reveal of Agni and Hua Mulan. We will be back tomorrow for the reveal of Geb and Uller, and I believe Clumsy is joining us for tomorrow's show.
And Geb,
it's crazy.
He's a little spicy. I believe personally.
Yeah. That's fun.
Uller, he's got some fun stuff. Yeah. But Geb, I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah. Everyone can blame Clumsy when he's here. But keep an eye on our official social media channels and Discord for news about when today's flash test will kick off. We've been keeping them up overnight just because we want to get as much testing in as possible. Want to make sure that we have an opportunity for players of all time zones and sleep schedules to hop in and play. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully should be up a little bit later on this afternoon, but we'll post whenever everything is ready. But until then, we will see you all on the battleground. Have a great rest of your day, chat. Peace.